All right, just like that, we're live. I'm back, guys. It's me, Tom Owens. You guys know me from the Tom Owens Show. Man, I'm here again today. I got a special guest with me, Mackenzie Berlin. Now, Mackenzie, I see it says Mackenzie Jade. Is that your nickname?
That's my name. My name's Mackenzie Jade Berlin, but I just anyone who talks to me, I always go by Mackenzie Jade. So
All right, okay. Now I know.
thank you.
Mackenzie Jade, thank you so much for joining me at the last minute. This is awesome to have you. Um, I saw you fight like about a year back when I was kind of just getting into the interview world and the podcast world, and I saw you fight out there at 559 Fights in the ballpark in Visalia. You remember that night?
I do. Yeah, that was my first fight.
That was your first fight. That was awesome,
First
man.
fight. That was my first
Oh,
MMA fight.
dude, that's a good memory right there. I was just watching that earlier, just checking it out. It was awesome. Anyhow, guys, we're back. We have a special weekend right here in Visalia, California. We have the 91st show of 559 Fights. It's going down right here in Visalia at the Visalia Convention Center. Brought to you by Jeremy Luchow. And man, it's going to be an awesome show. There's some title bouts going on. We have some locals. We got people coming from other places. It's going to be great. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it. And man, I want to thank you so much, Mackenzie, for joining me. I do some of these interviews with fighters like the kind of the last minute, the day before the fight. I always ask permission first because some people just don't want to do it, which I understand. I totally understand. But at your guys' level, I don't think it's a bad idea because you guys aren't doing this for no reason. You guys are doing this to get seen and to get yourself out there. You're in the amateur world, and I'm sure on the top of your mind, you're looking to get to the next level. You're not planning on being an amateur this whole time, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Mackenzie, before we start this, I want to just say thanks to your mom. Your mom's name is Debbie, right?
Yeah.
So when I reached out to you guys. She got back to me first, your mom, Debbie. And
Yeah.
I heard it was your manager, and she got back to me. And she was really cool being the middle person in between us. And she got this whole thing hooked up. So thank you, Debbie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
oh, yeah. She's cool, man. Hopefully I'll get to meet both you guys in person tomorrow night over there. I'm hoping I'll see you. Maybe I might be there at the weigh-in tomorrow. What time does the weigh-in start?
The weigh-in starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, 10 a.m. So I'll see you guys at the weigh-in tomorrow. I work at Costco. I get out like super early in the morning, so I'll be over there at the weigh-in to meet you guys. Anyhow, Debbie, thanks a lot. Your mom's doing something for you, sis. I'm telling you, man, that a lot of moms out there will not do. You picked a sport that's, you know what I mean. It's a sport that most people, men or women, just don't go out to do. So a
Yeah.
lot of respect for your mom and a respect for you for stepping in that ring and doing your thing. Now, yeah, heck yeah. Now you guys are coming from Hollywood?
West Hollywood. Yeah. It's a 3 to 4 hour drive depending on the traffic.
From West Hollywood. Is that where you're born and raised or what?
No, I was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and then I was raised back and forth between West Hollywood and Baltimore, Maryland. So it's been like a nice little mix of East Coast, West Coast. But for the
Okay.
past years, I've been in West Hollywood pretty consistently, just because I've been training a lot and I really wanted to start competing, so it all kind of happened better here than it did in Maryland.
Oh yeah, you're down in an area where there's all kinds of different schools and gyms that are available right
Yeah.
there. And your mom told me that you trained at Black House.
I train at Black House MMA. I started training at Saxon's Muay Thai and MMA gym. I used to train out of Fortune Boxing Gym, and I'm starting to step back into that area too, because I think my boxing is just kind of what separates me from every other girl out there. And quite frankly, like, this is a sport that if you don't love it, you shouldn't do it. And I love boxing. Like, boxing is just kind of a part of who I am. So I feel like I got to stick to like my nature. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And man, I'll tell you what, when I was even your very first fight, like I was thinking like, man, I wonder if this girl, if she got maybe growing up, had a bigger brother or trained in gyms or got into street fights or anything like that. Did that occur?
Well, I was an only child up until I was like 18. I went to go leave for college, and my mom was like, "I'm pregnant." I was like, "Oh, okay." um, I guess I'll stay home a little bit, but it was actually convenient. I wanted to stay home and I wanted a reason to stay home. So that was my reason. But no, I didn't have any like brothers or anything. And I never got into like street fights per se, but I've been training my whole life. Like my mom was really, both my parents really were like really scared because I'm so small. I'm only 4'11". Like the state of California says I'm technically like a handicap person. Like when I went to go get my license, they were like, "Do you want a handicap placard? You're really short." It's like I'm good, thank you. I'm not actually disabled. But being so small, my family was really scared like I wouldn't be able to defend myself. So they're like, take self-defense classes, take self-defense classes. So I was always in a gym up starting, I want to say I was 8 years old when I first stepped into an MMA gym. And so I've been doing it my whole life, and my friends all knew that I had been doing it. So they would like try and threaten people, like, she's our bodyguard, she'll protect us. They would start trying to pick fights with people and then like shove me into it. I'd be like, guys, we don't want to get into a fight. Like that's something you learn in an MMA gym. Like violence is like the last possible option. You try and make it so that, you know, everything can be solved by words because you don't want to get to that point. But so I never really got into street fights, but a lot of people tried to pick fights on my behalf. But no, I don't know. This just feels like part of who I am. So I feel lucky to have found it.
Well, when I watch you fight, it looks like you've been fighting for a while. The Black House Gym, have you been with that gym since the beginning of your training?
No, I first started with True Warrior Fitness with Toby Greer, and that ended up getting taken over by Oscar Moeller. And I trained with him for a while, and he partnered with a Legends gym, so that's where I started picking up my jiu-jitsu. But it originally was all like Muay Thai based, and I really liked it. But I ended up going off for college, and I got an internship at NASA in DC. So I ended up leaving California for a while and going to like pursue, you know, what I thought would be like my job. But COVID hit and I came back and I was like, oh, well, my job's kind of done right now. I can't do anything. So I might as well just go back to training because that's what feels like best. And so then I started at Fortune Boxing Gym because I've always liked the stand-up fighting. I never really liked jiu-jitsu. And then I really fell in love with it, but I didn't really think fighting was still going to be like a thing for me. Just like with COVID, I was like, oh, everything's closed. Like it's not going to happen. But then I started to miss jiu-jitsu again. So I started training at like 10th Planet and Dynamics MMA. And I ended up getting offered a fight. And I was like, you know what, why not? Like, I'll just take it. And that ended up being my first fight. And I was like, whoa, that was fun. Let's do that again. And so I kept trying to level up. And then after that, I ended up saying, you know, I do think I want to go after this professionally. And so if I'm going to go after it professionally, I should train with other professionals. And Black House has had more UFC champs come out of it than almost any other gym, from my understanding. So I was like, you know what, if that's where the best are coming out of, I have to go be the best. That's where I'm going to go. And so now I've been at Black House for, I want to say like 6 months now. And it's definitely a different level than everywhere else. Like,
I could imagine.
Yeah, Piera Rodriguez trains out of Black House, and she just won her last UFC fight. So
yeah,
she's incredible. Like there's a lot.
That's one of your sparring partners and your training partners, right?
Yeah, she would be my training partner.
Oh man, dude, I can't wait to watch this fight. It's going to be great, man. You got something too. When I watch you fight, like it's something that a lot of, I mean, it could be a man or a woman, but there's very few people that when they get into a fight and they'll get in the pocket with another person on the feet and just have the willingness to stand there in front of another person and swing. And man, that first fight, when I was, like I was saying, when I was watching, I go, dude, that's something I fought myself when I was younger. I had like 4 fights in the cage, but I was a jiu-jitsu guy. Even though I practiced the boxing and the Muay Thai and all that, hey, I'll be honest about it now. When I'm not a person that likes to stand there and take hits. I like to hit people, but I'm just not one of those people that'll just stand right there in the pocket and just go for brokes. You are down to do that, and man, and you say you don't have an older brother. You're the oldest one in the family.
Yep.
So your mom, I talked to her briefly. Your mom seems like a super cool person. Yeah, she seems cool. I'm telling you, man, when it comes down to moms will do stuff for their kids that a lot of people just won't do. What she's doing
Yeah.
for you is awesome. Your mom's your manager, and she's right there, and she's backing you up throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey, props to her.
Yeah.
So the Black House Gym right there, it's been around forever. To have a gym down there, are they directly in West Hollywood?
No, they're in Gardena, so I drive about 40 minutes to an hour every day just to go train with them.
And that gym, I mean, to make it down there in that area, a lot of you guys, if you don't understand, to make it down south in an area like that, like you have to be doing something right, or you just won't survive, because the cost of living, the cost of rent, and all those things are, man, I can't even imagine compared to what it is here. So, hey, props to them. Now, your coaches right now that are in Black House, can you maybe give some props out, give some names out, and talk a little bit about the coaches?
I love my coaches. I really, really do. I actually I can't think of like a better set of coaches. Currently out of Black House, we have Kenny Johnson. He's our wrestling coach. He corners Piera too. And he's really like changed my wrestling game. Like I used to really just like my first fight, there was no wrestling. You said it, like I just straight up, I just try and hit people, and I'm down to trade punches. I love trading punches. I mean, I'd rather give more, but so he's really put in perspective to me, like, no, I'm not going to be a boxer in an MMA fight. I'm an MMA fighter who specializes in boxing. Like he's really made me much more interested, and I can't thank him enough for that. Jason Park also trained as the striking coach out of Black House, and he's gotten a really incredible style too. And it's like it's incredible to see how when I test myself against people he's been training for a long time, seeing how like, you know, he's worked with Brian Ortega, he's Piera's boxing coach too. So it's like being able to test myself against all these other people who have been training with him for a long time, seeing how I stand up, being able to develop my own style against, you know, what would be traditional striking in MMA, I think has always been really cool because, you know, in the early UFC days, it was really like style against style. And women's MMA, you know, like Mackenzie Dern is a superstar in jiu-jitsu. You know, all these girls are kind of like, you know, they have one thing that they do really, really well. So it's almost like women's MMA is that really early UFC kind of era where it's these styles against styles. And so I like being able to like, I feel like that's what makes it fun, you know, because it's getting to see, okay, is my boxing that has been straight boxing since I was 8 years old better than, like MMA type striking? Like, I'm able to get into a pocket in a different kind of way and be comfortable there. Whereas other, you know, athletes are like, oh, well, if we're in this pocket, I need to take them down because that's like what traditional MMA is. So it's nice to being able to like work with him and see like, okay, what works best for me? Because ultimately I'm getting in the ring and I'm going to have to try and put my plan into action. So I really like being able to like bounce my ideas off with him and see how it like feels in those like real situations. And then my last fight, we have a new coach at Black House, Max Suarez, and he's incredible too. Like he really changed my game. I used to only, you know, attack the head because, you know, that was my boxing. Like boxing does go to the body, but that's when you're in really tight, and people in MMA don't want to be tight. So I'm always having to like chase after people. So I was always attacking the head, and he's like, no, let's mix this up a little bit. Let's shoot for takedowns and then go striking again. Like it's mixed martial arts for a reason. And so he's a nice little bridge between both Jason Park and Kenny Johnson, because he's like, okay, let's mix everything in together. You know, let's work on the cage, let's work on the ground, let's work standing. And so it's a really nice balance with everyone there. That's been really incredible and something I've never really experienced before, which is like crazy because I've been doing this since I was like 8 years old. So it's like, wow, it almost feels like I'm learning a whole new sport like in the past year. So it's really, really cool. I'm really happy I'm here.
Oh man, dude, I'm happy too. I'm feeling a vibe coming through the stream, even though we're miles away. Hey, I can tell you're stoked about this and you're super happy. Dude, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Your guys' gym, all those guys you just named off, those are guys that know what they're doing. And man, when I saw you, even though on that first fight that I saw you, like you were down to sit there and trade punches, and I could tell you were going for the stand-up fight, but I could tell also that when the fight did go to the ground, you already had some skill on the ground. You had that guillotine locked in tight, and yeah,
Yeah.
It just looked to me like you loved the striking aspect. So man, now I'm excited to see how the difference is going to be with you training at that Black House gym down there. And are
Yeah.
those guys? Are they? You have a couple of those coaches that are traveling with you down here?
No. So none of my Black House coaches were able to make it, but I've recently started training at a Saxon's Muay Thai and MMA, and they kind of partner with Black House. So all the coaches that are over there are regularly at Black House. They're all like, everyone in MMA knows each other. They're all like friends. And so I started working with one of the coaches over there, Julio. And so he's coming down for my fight with me. And so he's been at Black House watching me spar. He's, been there to see what my training's been like, where I'm at. And so now that I'm transitioning over and doing both Black House and Saxons, it's been, I don't know, it feels like a new Mackenzie. It feels like really, really good. Like I feel strong. I feel fast. I feel really ready, like weirdly calm more than I've ever been for any other fight.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, the thing is, you are a new Mackenzie because we can change our life any day of the week and any minute of the day. So what you've done is definitely changed your whole route. Mackenzie, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 23.
Dang, at 23, man, you know what I was doing, guys, at 23? Oh, man, dude. I was, even though I was training in jiu-jitsu and I was in martial arts, I wasn't stepping into the cage, though. I was all messing around, you know what I mean, having a good time partying. So at 23, you're doing this. Now, Mackenzie, am I correct? This is will be your 5th fight?
This will be my 5th fight, yeah.
Okay, so you've already got 4 amateur fights. This will be the 5th fight, the 5th amateur fight. What are your plans from here? Providing things go in the route, or they don't go in the route that you want. What are your plans with this MMA deal in your life?
Well, first off, I'm really grateful I have my parents in my life, specifically my mom, the fact that she's my manager, because like being so young, like it's hard to make decisions and know that I'm making the best decisions for my future. So being able to have someone who's like, okay, I can bounce that idea off of, like, what do you think? Like with your experience, how do you think this is going to go? And being able to like fully trust that person who's giving me advice is like really comforting. And so our thought process with everything is that, I go and I win this fight, and God forbid I don't, it's been very hard for me to get fights given that I'm a bit more violent than other girls who get in the ring. Most girls don't really like bleeding in it. And so far 3 out of 4 girls I can't bleed, like no one really wants to fight me at this point. It's really hard to get fights. So anyone who wants to take a fight with me, like I'm happy. Let's go at it, because ultimately win or lose, amateurs, it doesn't, like, it matters to me. Like I care, like I don't want to lose, but this is where I'm learning, and you can't always learn from wins. So sometimes you have to learn from losses. So depending on how everything goes, I would like another 3, maybe 4 amateur fights, but like that could be another 3-4 years. So just depending on how, I'm able to do at this fight, and then moving forward, who is willing to accept another fight with me, that will kind of depend. That will kind of dictate how everything goes. I would like to go pro in the next year or 2, just because like I'm always really anxious to fight, and I want to do it. Like I want to get in there. I want to get the experience. I want to learn. I want to keep growing. I want to not even just like make a lot of money. I want to be the best. Like I want to be so dominant that I want to be the new Valentina Shevchenko, except every single time it's like, yeah. Like that's who I want to be. Like she's able to do it,
man. That's good.
But like that's what I want to go after. Like I think especially for someone who's as small as I am, I always feel like anytime I step in the ring, it's like a David and Goliath situation. Like everyone's kind of like, what the heck is this little girl gonna do? Like the girl I fought before last, she was like 5'6", so it looked like she had like an entire foot on me. And it was like, even though I lost that fight, it was like an incredible fight to watch, because like I don't give up. I'm like a dog with a bone. Like I will keep going until that like ref pulls me off of you. And
that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I was talking about a little bit ago. Hey, and I've trained with all kinds of dudes and women and dudes, and I've been in corners. of all kinds of people, and like guys that you think are going to be tough when they get in there. Very few people have that willingness. Like a pit bull is different than. I kind of make this explanation. It's like with dog fights. I mean, you have that breed, the pit bull. The pit bull, even though it's a small little animal, but the spirit of a pit bull when it fights another dog, it's a spirit in an animal that very, very few animals on this earth have. And that same thing transfers over with people and fighting. There's a lot of people that fight and get in that cage, and a lot of people that have tremendous skill in boxing, kickboxing, or jiu-jitsu, or mixed together, or just wrestling. But very, very few people have that willingness to get right in front of another person and just exchange and do it and really go for it and put it on the line. So I give you a lot of props and respect for that. That's awesome. And man, dude, I'm so excited for you, Mackenzie. I can't wait to see what goes down. Now you guys are gonna take off. You're gonna come down here. You guys already got a place to stay and everything. You're all lined up.
Yeah, we're gonna stay at the hotel near the convention center.
All right, that's a nice spot to stay. You've been in this area already before. Now, I imagine your mom probably came with you on your other fight over here.
She goes with me to every fight. She's my good luck charm.
That's so cool. You guys already know, like, what does a gal like you like to eat?
I eat everything. I'm Italian, so like my favorite's like pasta, but I walk around really close to my fight weight. Like I'm already 115. I don't cut just because I don't believe in it really. But I will eat anything, like, because I'm always working too. So it's like the weight doesn't really stay on anymore. Like this is my body's like used to being at this size. I love pastas. I love steaks. I love eating any kind of meat really, because I need the protein. Like my body, I can feel it. I want protein all the time. But I try and make sure that anything I am eating, like, and I will eat almost anything, I try and make sure it's organic and like kind of clean. Like I don't mind having carbonara. I don't mind having like butters and creams and things like that. But as long as it's like not overly processed, like I don't want any chemicals in my food, because you can feel the difference. Like when I was going to college, I was majoring in nuclear engineering. And before I finished my nuclear engineering degree, I had to take a bunch of chemistry classes. And so when I was looking at, the chemistry in food, which is where I was focusing my thesis on at the time, it's incredible what happens when you inject animals or you put pesticides on plants and then consume those things. And especially as someone who's trying to be a professional athlete, I think to myself, well, I am, my tool that I use every day. Like if I'm not in tip-top shape, then I'm not going to be going out and competing in my best form. So I need to make sure anything I'm putting in my body is going to be good. I don't mind eating sugar. I love sugar. I love sugar. Like I have chocolate every day. Like don't get me wrong, but I make sure that when I'm eating that chocolate, it's like, okay, I know sugar isn't like a different form of a glucose. Like it's not a sugar alcohol. It's not, anything that's been, processed and covered in pesticides. Like, why would you ever eat weed killer? Like that's going to make you sick, right? So why would you let it sit on your food? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So, and like, I'm really grateful that I have, family who like believes the same way. Like we all, like I live right next door to my parents. And so we'll all still have dinners together. And it's really nice that like being able to share that, like we all eat very clean, but we eat like whatever, because we're taking charge of our food. That makes sense, right?
It does. And so your dad, are your mom and dad there together still?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. How long have they been married and together?
Well, my dad's actually my stepdad. So I met him when I was 7. That's what? I'm 23. That's 16 years now.
Oh man, that's cool. That's awesome. And how does he feel about your fighting game?
It's really funny. When I was younger, I would tell him, I was like, I want to be a fighter. This is what I'm going to do. He was like, absolutely not. No way. Like I wanted to be competing in Muay Thai competitions when I was like 15 or so. And he was like, no way. The head damage. No. He's like, compete in jiu-jitsu. And so I kept competing in jiu-jitsu and I kept winning. And I was like, okay, well, I've consistently shown I can win in jiu-jitsu. Can we start in Muay Thai now? And he was like, wait till you're 18. like, fine. I turn 18. I end up going to college. And I was like, it's okay. Whatever. And I come back at 21 and I was like, COVID hit right when I turned 21. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm of the age now where I can just try it. Like, I am my own adult, even though I live very close with my family and I really respect them and I want to make sure that they know I respect them. But I was like, I'm going to train really hard to the point where if, I'm doing that well, it will be safer than it was than like before. And so now it's funny, as I've started competing, my dad like corners me at every single one of my fights. Like, he's like super involved and he's like, telling people now, like, I've caught him saying like, my daughter's a fighter. I'm like, I changed it. I won. I like, even if I didn't win a fight or whatever, I won with him, and that's like enough.
Oh man, that's so cool. He seems like first of all, he seems like a very smart guy. Everything he was telling you is right on the dime, man. You don't want to jump into things. Seems like a cool guy though. Both your parents are cool. Man, that's awesome.
What's a family business now?
Oh yeah, it is. That's a trip, man. And to have your own family right there at your fights at cage side, boy, that's a real trip. They got your back regardless of the outcome. They're going to be right there and they're going to have your back. That's a great thing. Exactly. So, man, Mackenzie, do you have any sponsors or anybody that you would like to thank and give a shout out to?
I would love to thank Under Armour because I fight in their clothes every single one of my fights now. I think they're fantastic. I love working out in them. And
Under Armour? You said Under Armour?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's badass.
An Under Armour. I love it. Specifically my second fight, I came out in one of their white sports bras, and I left the ring red, and with the new title, the Red Queen, and I've been working with it since, and I really loved it. So I want to thank Under Armour for making some really awesome clothes. And quite frankly, more like my best sponsors really are my parents. Like, the fact that they've supported me going through this, that my mom manages me, that my dad helps train me and make sure that everything goes smoothly. Like, I couldn't ask for a better family, for a better team, for all the things that let me do what I do best. So I'm really grateful for them. I'm really grateful for Black House. Black House wasn't easy to get into. They take the audition. They don't just take anyone. They make sure you audition and that you're a good fit for them too. So I'm really grateful that they think I'm good enough to.
Okay, explain that to me. I didn't know that. So if not just anybody could just go and sign up for self-defense classes there, you had to go. How did that work? What was the process of doing that?
So Black House has what's called a professional team. You can train at Black House. They offer jiu-jitsu classes to anyone. They offer striking classes to anyone, but they have a professional team, and those are the times when Jason Park, Kenny Johnson, Max Suarez teach. And so if you want to be able to train with them, then so my process was I met the owner of Black House, and he asked if I had any fights. And at that point, I think I'd had about 3 fights. And so he watched my fights and he was like, okay, you can try Black House out for a month. I was like, oh, okay. Peculiar. Okay. So I stayed for a month. I got my ass handed to me for that first month, being an amateur and training with other amateurs and then working and moving over to training only with professionals was a very different kind of mindset and environment that I had ever been used to before. But I held my own. And so then they were like, okay, you can go here. I was like, oh, I thought I was going here. And they're like, no, we had to make sure it was a good fit. I was like, oh, okay. Thank you.
That's trippy. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand. And then they were like, okay, we're going to do another set of auditions. Apparently they only really take people during their audition period for amateurs, I mean. But so I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, anyone who goes there, if it's your first day, especially with the professional team, if you're recommended by, I've brought friends in who are also other amateur fighters or professional fighters. They're watched very closely to see if it's an okay fit. And then they move forward and or they don't. And so that's how it goes. Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah,
Well,
no
man, dude,
problem.
that's awesome, man. Everybody out there, guys, the tickets are they might be gone already. They were close to being gone yesterday. If you guys want to get a ticket for tomorrow's show, get on there. There's plenty of different places you can get the tickets. Don't mess around. Get them while they're hot. And man, Mackenzie, I want to thank you once again. Thank your mom, your manager, and your family for doing what you guys do. I'll see you tomorrow at the weigh-in. If you guys have any questions about any places to eat for certain types of food or anything like that, feel free to ask me. Okay, tell your mom, feel free to ask me. Now your deal's going down tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but get your mind right, get focused, and focus on that fight. Interviews on the last day. Like I said, I appreciate it. Normally, I wouldn't mess with somebody the day before a fight, but like I said, you guys aren't doing this for no reason. You guys are getting your name out there. You're getting your face out there, and you're doing big things. So, hey, I wish you the best. Once again, Debbie, I thank you for everything you do, and your dad. I haven't met him. Maybe I'll meet him someday. Mackenzie, I give you the best of luck, and I thank you once again, guys. Everybody out there, I thank you. And Mackenzie, if you guys can pass this on and share it any way you can, I would appreciate it.
I would love to. Thank you.
All right. Hey, you and your mom, you guys have a safe trip down here.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
All right, sis.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.